Hi, welcome to Programming is Fun. My name is Anas, and in my previous tutorial, I talked about if else and else if. This tutorial is the extension of my previous tutorial. In this tutorial, I want to talk about the nested if else, break, and switch in C++. So let's begin. So nested if else means if statement inside another if statement. Let's make a program to check whether the whole number entered by the user is a positive integer, negative integer, or zero. So let's make a program for that. Integer number is equal to 0 to avoid the garbage value always, and then cout and please enter a number. Here user will enter number. C in it will store inside this number, and then check if number is not equal to 0, then come inside else cout you have entered 0 backslash n for the new line and the semicolon. Now here we use the nested if else to check that whether the number is positive or whether the number is negative. For that, if number is greater than 0, then it means that's a positive integer. So cout you have entered a positive number, and also cout the number on the console screen, and then use the and the backslash. Now if the number is not greater than the 0, that means the number is negative. So for that, else cout you have entered a negative number, and cout number and the end. So now build and run this code else. Now what will happen? First it will evaluate this. If number is not equal to 0, then it will come inside the body of the outer if. This is the outer if. Let me comment outer if, and this is inner if. First it will evaluate the outer if the condition false, it will skip all this code and directly come to the else part and cout you have entered 0. Otherwise, if the number is not equal to 0, then it will check first if number is greater than 0. If yes, then it will only print this line of code and skip this else and this else also. So let's build and run this program. Let me enter a positive number. It will only show that you have entered a positive number 12. You have entered a positive number 12. So similarly for negative -12, you have entered a negative number -12. And what if I entered here 0? You have entered 0. So the compiler evaluates the outer if first. If it evaluates to be true, then it will come inside the body of the outer if. Then it will evaluate the inner if. If the inner if evaluates to be true, then it will come inside the body of the inner if. Otherwise, it will come inside the else part and it will skip all other code. But if the outer if evaluates to be false, it will skip all this code and come inside the else part, and it will execute the else block, of course. So this was the simple line of nested if else in C++. So now, what is switch? A switch case is used to test a list of values, where each value is a case. When the value equals to the case, that case gets executed. If no value will be equal to the case, then default case will be executed. Let's make a program to check that either the number entered by the user is a even number or an odd number. Use the switch keyword when you are working with the switch and gives the condition inside the parentheses that number modulus 2 and the curly brackets case 0 And remember that I use here colon. Don't put semicolon over here, otherwise you will get an error. So case 0 means the number you have entered is even. Cout the number you have entered is even, and \n for the new line. And the next case is that if the num mod 2 means remainder is not 0, means if remainder is 1 or 3 or 5 or 7 or 9, that means, and the colon, that means you have entered an odd number. Cout the number you have entered is an odd number, and \n and the semicolon. And the default case is that default means when no case will be equal to the value, then default will be executed, and cout wrong, only to test our program that either it's working fine or not, the semicolon and the \n also, and then build and run this code. Now if I enter 8 mod 2, here you see it's printing all the values inside the switch. This is because we didn't use the break statement inside these all cases. So for that, use break. Always use break statement whenever you are working with the switches. So you have to use this break. You can also use the breaks in if else statements also to break the statement. Break, and also here break. Now you will see if I entered even number, it will only print that the number you have entered is even. And if I entered the number which is odd, then it will only print that the number you have entered is an odd number. 8. Now you're seeing that the number you have entered is even, only printing that the number you have entered is even, because now I have used the break statement in my cases. So breaks are very important in switch. If you forget the break statement in cases, you will face these kinds of errors that they will print all the statements and it will execute all the cases inside this switch. To avoid that, always use breaks in every case, and the values of cases must be the same data type of the variable. Let's suppose I have entered here the data type of the number is integer. If I use here the character, for example, a, and now build and run, 8 is an even number, but the case is not existed over there, so it will give us wrong. This is a default statement, cout wrong. So always remember that use the values for each case must be the same data type of the variable type. And if the data type you have declared here is character, so whenever you are working with the characters, the case should be in the single quotes. And remember that switches can only accept integer, character, and boolean type values. It will not accept the strings or floats or doubles inside this switch. Always remember that switch does not take the double float, so always remember that switch will works only with the integers. So this was the basics of switch, break, nested if else, and I hope that you like my this tutorial, and please give me a like and subscribe for more videos. Until next time, take care, bye.